Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us this Friday night. First tonight, the Tasmanian and federal governments are teaming up to tackle a critical lack of doctors in the state. $13 million in joint funding over the next 4 years aims to recruit and retain GPs in rural and remote areas with a nation-leading pilot program.
Working hand in hand with our health professionals, the new single employer model will make deciding to become a GP much more attractive for trainee doctors like Cody and Emily.
You have a lot of job security, don't have to renegotiate contracts.
It'll mean a really big help to encourage more people to take up GP training as a registrar in Tasmania.
The state and federal governments striking a $13 million deal to address GP shortages in rural and remote areas, with fewer graduates choosing general practice.
It used to be about 50% of young people coming out of medical school would choose general practice as their lifelong career, and that figure now is less than 14%.
Leading the nation, Tasmania will be the first to implement the pilot statewide, providing up to 20 GP trainees the choice to be employed by the State Health Service.
We are putting in place structures that will make it easier in the future for you to access a GP. It's as simple as that.
It was our Premier who pitched the model to the federal government in November.
What we're doing is coming up with innovative solutions, working together to ensure that, in this case, all Tasmanians have greater access and reliability of access when it comes to the primary healthcare system.
Doctors currently have to choose between working in a state-funded hospital system or the Commonwealth Medicare system.
You don't have the same wages and entitlements that your equivalents who are working in the hospital system has, and it just doesn't make general practice attractive.
But under one employer, doctors will carry over entitlements like annual and sick leave.
The AMA would love to see this expanded to not just rural and remote GP registrars, but to all GP registrars in Tasmania, and we hope that will be the next step.
Securing a sustainable GP workforce for the future. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
There's been a sharp rise in the number of empty social and community houses. 215 properties were deemed untenantable in the latest report on government services, up from 131 the previous year. Labor says maintaining the current housing stock should be a higher priority.
Government owned, and they have failed to do routine and regular repairs. That's what's led to these houses being uninhabitable now.
A Homes Tasmania spokesperson says the figure includes dwellings undergoing normal maintenance, with challenges finding available tradespeople. It does not mean they are in a state of disrepair. Glenorchy Alderman Kelly Sims has been suspended from council for 3 months after breaking the local government code of conduct. She was deemed to have breached sections relating to how she expressed her personal views and how she treated people. Alderman Sims posted to Facebook to say she was planning to appeal the determination. The latest public health figures have sadly revealed 4 Tasmanians lost their lives to COVID in the last week. Cases and hospital admissions for the virus continue to drop, with 462 new infections reported. The current risk level in the community remains low. A New South Wales woman has conquered an unbelievable feat in Tasmanian waterways, swimming a stretch of 60 kilometres. Battling through the conditions of the Derwent River, each stroke was helping raise funds for an important cause.
Setting off in the dark of night, a mammoth challenge in the water loomed for Brenda Norman.
I found last night particularly tough because it was so dark. I couldn't see anything.
From New Norfolk to her final destination at the Iron Pot Lighthouse, the long-distance swimmer clocked 15 hours straight.
It's really just about your headspace, just being comfortable to be out there for a really long period of time, and I guess being at one just with the water.
But it wasn't without moments of hurt. Her driving force, a mental health charity funding initiatives in her hometown.
We lost some people in our community to suicide, which was incredibly tragic, and I just wanted to do something to try and turn the conversation.
with a support crew on deck to help ride home the final strokes.
When you've been out swimming so as long as Brenda has, just having someone swimming beside you can give you a little bit a burst of energy, freshen you up a little bit.
Brenda has done it all to physically prepare her body for this swim. From hours of river and pool training, it's all helped her get to where she is today.
We've all got our little touch of madness, I guess.
A well-earned drink to celebrate, deeming it her hardest hurdle yet. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Temperatures are set to soar over the weekend, reaching 30 in Hobart and high 20s elsewhere. The Tasmania Fire Service is predicting a high fire risk around most of the state tomorrow and high risk in Launceston for the next 5 days. Deputy Chief Officer Bruce Byatt said it was pleasing the vast majority of Tasmanians had followed fire safety advice so far this summer. A large amount of cannabis and stolen property has been uncovered during a significant Tasmania police operation in the Central Highlands. 40 officers undertook search warrants on a number of London Lakes properties. A 33-year-old man was charged with drug trafficking as a result. He's been bailed to appear in the Hobart Magistrates Court in March. For now, a Melbourne-based dancer is masking up in a unique way to wow crowds at this year's Monofoma. The world premiere performance is hoping to challenge its audience, something TasDance says we could use more of.
It's not your usual dance performance. Amber McCartney's first full-length solo work is inviting audiences to peer into the mask.
So I'm attempting to wear myself as a disguise.
Shaking a leg with sci-fi, she's exploring the collision between what makes us human or alien.
I hope that it sparks imagination and allows people to think about what else or who else they can be.
Hobart crowds will be able to see Baby Girl's world premiere at next month's Monofoma. Tapping into 90s nostalgia, Amber's costume tells part of the story.
It's for anyone who's open to seeing the human body in a new way.
With audiences encouraged to keep an open mind.
It gets a bit creepy, it's beautiful, but then kind of a bit sad and devastating, but also romantic all at the same time.
It'll be just one of hundreds of acts across 2 weekends, beginning in Launceston before heading south. The festival is known for pushing the envelope on art and music, a good thing, according to TasDance.
It's integral that we create works that allow us to reflect on ourselves, maybe challenge us a little bit.
Monofoma begins on February 17. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
The diamond in the rough of this season's Big Bash, Paddy Dooley, has re-signed with the Hurricanes. The left-arm spinner will play in purple for 2 more seasons after a breakout year.
It's the bowling action that's winning fans and matches for the Hurricanes.
Bowled! Dooley gets Stoinis.
And it's here to stay. Paddy Dooley signing on for 2 more years with the Hurricanes, repaying the faith shown in him by the side.
They brought me in sort of for my first deal, and they gave me a crack straight away, getting to play every game I was available for.
He said talks were held after his blistering start to the Big Bash.
I was assuming there'd be a bit of regression in my performances because I got off to a really good start, but it kept going well, so maybe went a bit early. I'm surprised just in general how well I've gone.
Oh, has he got a little feather on that?
19 wickets at an average of less than 13 was a good enough reason to bring back Dooley, even before considering the action that's made him a cult hero.
It's funny, I've got this weird action and I release the ball a bit funny, and I think people have responded to that and something different.
Dooley was a bright point of the season, but ultimately it was one of disappointment for Hobart.
We've said it to death, but ultimately if we take 3 extra catches at the start of the season, we've probably won 9 games and we're in 3rd place, so sometimes that's the way cricket goes.
He'll have 2 more campaigns to set things right. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Aussies were caught off guard in last night's T20 clash with Pakistan as the sprinklers caused a small delay to the match in Hobart. The reigning world champions tried 9 bowlers in the 8-wicket win with an eye on this year's World Cup.
There's that mindset on what's coming up, trying to focus on sort of this series as well as the opposition that we're going to be coming up against there.
Australia takes an unbeatable 2-0 series lead into Sunday's 3rd game in Canberra. Taking a look at basketball now, and it's a huge night ahead for the Jack Jumpers. They're taking on the top of the table Sydney Kings at MyState Bank Arena in their Pride round fixture. A win could see Tasmania leap past New Zealand into third. Both sides are expected to be at full strength. Collingwood looks set to play a pre-season game in Tasmania this year. 15,000 fans packed what was Aurora Stadium the last time the Pies played in the state back in 2015. Veteran Still Sidebottom spilt the news while speaking on Melbourne radio. He says he still pinches himself every time he puts on the Guernsey.
I don't have a lot going on outside of footy, so I'll keep trying to play for as long as I can, but yeah, the footy club is a great place for young guys like myself to be able to just go there and be themselves.
Collingwood has never played here for premiership points, but the club has played practice matches across the state, including against Melbourne in 2001 in Hobart, and with Lee Matthews as coach against St Kilda in Burnie in 1989. And for tonight's Friday Flashback, we're digging out some happier days for the Glenorchy Football Club. In 1999, the Magpies achieved one of their finest premiership victories, ending a 13-year drought and drinking the Cascade Brewery dry. Then known as the Chicken Feed Super League, Glenorchy was desperate to have a hand on the cup.
We can't wait.
And nor could nervous supporters, starting early at a special breakfast featuring club legend Rodney Eade. The Black and White Army then set about dressing North Hobart Oval in its tribal colours.
And we're going to flog the Bombers, stick it up them.
Those Bombers from North Launceston were the powerhouse of the era and the defending premiers, while Glenorchy was in its first grand final in more than a decade.
I'd like everyone to come out to the club tonight and have a big beer with us, celebrate our win, because we're going to win.
First, though, came a furious fight, intensifying when Darren Kapler detonated a long bomb to push the Pies ahead.
Now, as he plays on and gets a good kick, he could kick this, Darren Kapler. He's a tremendous kick. He's kicked it.
The Northerners stayed within reach of their runaway rival, but these were hungry Pies unwilling to yield an inch.
When the Magpies come forward again, and it's another mark.
The obligatory push and shove ensued as the Bombers lost control and Glenorchy sealed the deal. One last spectacular mark courtesy of Kapler capped off the day. The Pies were premiers again after 13 years, sending fans delirious.
A lot of hard work, and I suppose it's been rewarded with a great effort today.
The masses flocked to the Oval's famous balcony to see coach Paul Hamilton accept the prize, but the real celebrations ramped up back at the club.
1999 premiers!
Go you Magpies!
Yes, I followed Glenorchy, I couldn't tell you how many years now. It was great.
A full smorgasbord was on offer to soak up a most popular selection amongst the partiers.
Been having a few beers for quite a few days. I think I got 2 or 3 days off work, but I think I might be putting in for a couple more.
And who could blame him? I reckon you need a week off after that one, Lou.
It looks like it. Didn't that look great? Thank you for that, Tom.
Good evening. Slightly warmer across parts of the state today. Hobart 27, Launceston 25, a top of 23 for Devonport, and Burnie reached 22. Bushy Park was the state's top at 28 today, 25 at Grove. King Island, Friendly Beaches and Smithton all reached 23, 20 at St Helens and Lyowini 17. Thick cloud over the north today with more patchy clearer skies for the south. Further out, middle and high level cloud over the west with thunderstorms over the west and north, clear skies over the country's southeast. A decaying cold front will approach the west of the state tomorrow with a weakening ridge over the Tasman Sea, and troughs will remain over central and western parts of the country. North to northeasterly winds reaching up to 30 knots before shifting to 10 to 20 knots in the evening. And there's a strong wind warning from Wineglass Bay to Stanley. Another partly cloudy day across the south tomorrow. Hobart to reach 29, 26 for Maydena and 27 at Oatlands. Partly cloudy also for the north, Launceston 28, 24 at Devonport and Lyowini 21. Partly cloudy and 23 for Burnie. A possible afternoon shower for Strawn reaching 27, Marrawar 25. And a partly cloudy start to the weekend for the east. St Helens, Swansea and Orford all reaching 28. And tomorrow's UV sits at 11 across the state. Showers about the north and east on Sunday, fine elsewhere, apart from some light showers in the southwest. Monday, fine, apart from some possible light showers, more likely in the inland areas in the afternoon. Launceston 27 and a top of 24 for Hobart. And mainly fine conditions on Tuesday, apart from some showers developing about the west later in the day. Across the country tomorrow, 30 in Adelaide and Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney and Canberra all partly cloudy, 34 Alice Springs and sunny in Perth. And right now it's still mostly sunny, Hobart 25, Launceston 21, Devonport 20. So Lou, it's a hot one in store tomorrow. I'm sure many of us will enjoy the warmer conditions.
And that wraps up your Friday night news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'll see you later on with updates. Thanks again. Good night.